So ever since the US 2024 elections, everyone is in a near panic, especially immigrants, because they are not sure what this Project 2025 is going to entail. Some persons have heard about it, but they do not know the full details about it. So therefore, let's break down these topics and let's not run around like Chicken Little. Let's analyze the details and really know if there is anything that we need to be worried about. Because based on my estimation, there is some amount of risk depending on which category you might be in. So therefore, stop worrying, stop fretting. Let's deep dive into what this Project 2025 really entails and the implication that it will have for us immigrants, and let us see what steps we need to take so that we can protect ourselves, our families, and that money that we send home on a monthly or weekly basis. So stay tuned. Welcome back to the Next Level Life Hacks, where we take the next steps needed to grow towards our financial freedom and our success. Now, thank you for clicking on this video. I appreciate the time you spend with me, and I appreciate those persons who have subscribed. Now, what is this Project 2025? Project 25 is really a very comprehensive document that was really formulated by the Heritage Foundation in Washington, D.C. And it is not the first guidance document that they have actually done. They have done quite a few in the past. However, there are only a couple or a few of them that have made highlights, and this is one such document. There is actually one, I think in the 1980s, that was actually implemented by Ronald Reagan and got some traction and some noticeable attention. However, 2025 is here. There is no guarantee that it is going to be actually implemented, but it does have some plans in place, and therefore it is worth taking a look at. Now let's break it down, because as I said, before we get worried, we need to have information, because information needs to guide our decision. Now, based on my research, Project 2025 has 5 key points where it comes on to immigration. And the first key point that we're going to be looking at is really expanding and expediting removal. So what this means is that they are now going to be able to remove persons who are inside the United States once you are found to not be documented. Now, the current process is that they will only do an expedited removal if you are near to the border as an undocumented person, or if you have spent less than 2 weeks within the United States. What the Project 2025 document, or plan rather, is going to be doing is that regardless of the amount of time that you are in the United States, once you are found to be undocumented, then you can be removed almost immediately, even without having a court hearing. Currently, the process is that you would be brought before a judge for a hearing, and then a decision be made whether or not you are to be deported. That will no longer be the case if Project 2025 is implemented. Now, what does that mean? If you watch the previous video, whereby Maria was brought before the court, that will no longer be the case, because she will automatically be detained and then expedited measures be put in place for her removal and deported back to wherever she came from. The next key point of the Project 2025 where immigration is concerned is the limiting of asylum access, and there will be tougher qualifications for persons to be granted asylum or as refugees. Because what usually happens is that there used to be a process where you'll be brought into the United States, you'll be given a certain period that your case will be considered, and then even say after a year, if it is approved, then you could file for like your work permit, travel documents, and so on under what is known as the I-485 process. That will no longer be the case. There is going to be a drastic limitation on what qualifies persons to be granted asylum. Therefore, on an annual basis, much less persons will qualify, and therefore much less persons will be brought in under this program. Now, if you are not aware, persons who seek asylum within the United States would have to prove that they are under persecution or threat of violence from their home country based on their religion, sexuality, political situation, but those qualifications will be drastically reduced. The third key point is that there's going to be a major reduction in the legal aid that is provided to persons who are seeking asylum or if they are undocumented within the country. And you can very well understand that persons who are running from their homeland, they are of low means or they have no income. That is why they wanted to come to the land of opportunity in the first place. So therefore, they would not have had the resources, the money that is, to pay for legal assistance or to pay these consultants for their case to be processed. Now, with the state or the federal limiting funding to these agencies, then you would realize then that less persons would have legal representation or get the counseling that they require so that their documents can be processed. Now, if there is no legal aid, if there is limited funding, less persons will be processed. Therefore, less persons will be brought in as immigrants. Another significant point to note here is that it's not only persons who are looking to process their documents once they enter the country that would be affected, but persons who got themselves into problems, whether it be criminal activity or certain fraudulent charges against them, they would not have the legal representation in court because they are not able to afford it, and the funding for this would be limited or cut off completely. The fourth area is going to be an increasing detention capacity, which means the holding of more immigrants to be deported. The plan is that detention centers will be expanded and they will be made to hold more persons, and there will be much more of them across the country. That therefore means that persons, once you are caught in the environment, because there might be stop and inspections randomly happening throughout the different cities, once you are found to not be able to justify your presence within the United States, then you would be immediately brought to a detention center. The fifth key point of Project 2025 is going to be the targeting of undocumented immigrants. Now, what is working against undocumented immigrants is that there were a few crimes that were committed by them in the last few months that has really been brought to the spotlight. And because these cases were brought to the spotlight and to national attention, or rather international attention, it has now created a cause to target undocumented immigrants. Now, because those cases got international highlight, and it was repeated so frequently during the campaigning process leading up to the elections, then you will find that persons are obligated, the president-elect to be specific, to target undocumented persons to fulfill the mandate that he had said while running for the presidency. So therefore, if it is that they want to appease the voters, then it is going to have to be fulfilled. So those are the 5 key areas of Project 2025. I hope that I have made things clearer for you. But what should be clear to you is that if you are undocumented, that needs to be resolved immediately. How are you looking about getting yourself to be documented and to have a legal presence in the United States? If it is that you have overstayed your visitor's visa, as we mentioned in a previous video, then you need to have valid status or presence within the United States. If you cannot manage the process or the process is too confusing for you, then we are here to help. I can recommend you to the person that dealt with all of my immigration processes quite successfully to be added, and they have dealt with hundreds of cases. If you need assistance, don't sit and wait and see what is going to be happening in 2025. To be forewarned is to be forearmed. So get yourself regulated, get yourself documented. Look in the description box for the agency that I used, and they'll be more than happy to assist you. If they ask you where you got their information from, just tell them that you saw the information while watching a video on YouTube. Alright, but whatever it is, get yourself the assistance right now before it is too late, because there is some need to be worried if it is that you know your situation is one that needs to be tightened up a bit. Alright, so get acting right now. So as usual, my friends, if you know of anyone else as well who has some confusion about what Project 2025 really entails, share this video with them so that they can have the knowledge that they need. We are all in this together as immigrants, none above the other, but let's not listen to rumors. Let's get the correct information and have peace of mind moving forward. Thank you for watching this video. Thank you for spending the time with me, and remember to check out the videos on the end screen that refers to how to avoid deportation measures. Share it with others that you know might be in need of the information, and see you in the next video.